Okay, let's do it again. Habarigari.
Ujima.
Collective work and responsibility. All right, well, this is our third evening into the celebration of Kwanzaa. And once again, it's a pleasure to have you out here. So let's take a moment of silence for the ancestors, because we know it's by them that we are here. Ashe. And we're going to go into the program. Of course, we're going to use one of our young prince or princesses to light our candle. But before we go, I would like you to repeat after me if you can. I am. Because they were. And they are. Because I am. Ashe. And that's the way we recognize our ancestors every day, because we walk on the wings of our ancestors. All right? So without further ado, we're going to start out by lighting the candle, and then we have one young volunteer. Who's it? Who's going to be today?
Antoine. Antoine, we got a school and everything there for him. It is right here. Prince right here.
Wait a minute. I stand corrected, ladies and gentlemen. I stand corrected. Before we can even do anything at all, I need to have permission. And the permission must come from the elder that is in the room. So I'm going to ask, may I proceed?
Yes, you may.
And so we now get started. So without further ado, we're going to light our candle. Well, you got to stick to it.
You got his stool out already.
Yeah, he knows what he was going to do.
You got his stool ready.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to light the unity candle. And I'm going to take the unity candle and I'm going to light the Fuji Chakalia candle.
Get that back.
And this young prince is going to light the more candle. Right here.
Tilt it, Antoine. Yeah, there you go. Tilt it over. Hold it close.
Hold it close to the right. Hold it to the right. It's not going to money.
All right. Now bring that back and put it in.
All right. So without further ado, we get started.
Just stool where it goes. Stool up. I thought so too.
The candle on the
Yeah, it was the first. That's what we did the first thing.
So it's all right to make it right.
All right, stand back.
Because it's wrong.
All right, that's what we did.
Right.
Just move the candle. That's right. You know how old folks is.
That's why we always enjoy having the elders.
So we right now? Are we ready?
Be right to move forward. Yes. Thank you.
All right, so tonight we're going to have a guest speaker. He's on his way, right? Correct? Let me just recap what we did yesterday. Yesterday we did the education, it wasn't a symposium, the educational workshop by Miss Phyllis Brown. Jones. I'm not old yet, I'm not a senior yet, but let me go. Alright, so we did the educational workshop. Listen, if you weren't out here yesterday, you should have been here. However, if you sign up on the sign-in sheet, once you come in, we can get the information to you. And for our young people, talking about our education is not only what we learn in school. Our education is about preparing you to lead. All right, that's the most important thing about education, preparing you to acquire resources and manage those resources. Also, a little recap, we're talking about education, again, for our young people. When we study about our past, we come up with a lot of heroes and sheroes that became heroes and sheroes from the date that some of us may say 1619 or 1555, depending on which history book you read. 1619 is tracking the date with our interaction with the pilgrims on this land. 1555 is tracking the date where the first slave ship, which was called the Good Ship Jesus, came to this shore and brought our ancestors. This is fact. You gotta read it. That's why our ancestors used to sing that song, Precious Jesus, Take Me Home. They weren't talking about no Jesus in the sky. They were talking about that ship. Because that's the only reference to where they're from that they have. This is history. I believe the name of the pilot of the ship, or some people might call him the captain of the ship, we call him the pilot of the ship, was John Hopkins.
That's correct.
So we can read this. You're not going to hear any fairy tales out here. You're going to get facts. Because we want to arm you with information. It's all part of your education. So when we go back and, as we say in Sankofa, to go back and fetch, we realize that the people that they call slaves were master teachers. They were master teachers. They put quilts together. And on the quilts was actually codes as how to escape. When you see them stitch that quilt and then they would hang it up on the line. So all the slaves in the field, when they pass and they look at the quilt, they actually was reading messages, coded messages as to how to escape. This is our history. This is our history. You're not going to hear this anywhere else because they're not going to teach you this in school. You know, we go back to look at Columbus in 1442. We claim that Columbus discovered something. Well, when Columbus got to where he got to, there were medals that the people had, that the native folks, the original folks who were there, had medals. And those medals was only made in one place. It was made in West Africa. So it means either those people traveled to West Africa and got it, or somebody from West Africa came and gave them those medals. This is historical fact. But you're not going to learn this in the school that you attend because we don't control our education. So we must arm our young people with the appropriate information. This is not to hate anyone, but it's so that they can sit at the table of debate and academically be part of that community. This is absolutely important. There was an author by the name of Van Sertima who wrote a book that called They Came Before Columbus. Okay, what do you mean they came before Columbus? Yes, there were people of African ancestry in this part of the world before Columbus even thought about leaving wherever he came from. This is fact. And while we're here today, at the end of our presentation, we have a, Jared, what do we call it? We have our altar of knowledge, the first fruit of knowledge.
The fruit of knowledge. You know, just like we have food for energy, but we have the food for knowledge. And back here it's called fruits of knowledge. So you can always, you're welcome to come back here. If you got this, I'm sure everyone got a cell phone. Take a picture of the ISBN number if you're interested in that book. We have a nice book here for all our queens. It's called Sacred Women. So make sure every book that we picked out and brought out here has something to do with what we're talking about, our history and our health. Because I always say my health is my wealth. And no one's going to take care of your health but you. You know, so we have a over here, a massive amount of knowledge if you're interested. Because you can't just read one book to get knowledge. We have to read everything and see everything, you know, and to know what's going on in the world that affects all of us. So please, come up here, take a picture of your ass if you're interested in that book and try to get it. There's a great book that's out right now. I'm trying to get this book. But it's by the world's #1 author. The world #1 book. And that book is the Bible. We know the author of that Bible, right? Is King James. So there's a book out right now called Demonology. Demonology. I just found out this book. It was written in 1759 by King James. It's all about Satan and witches that King James found is always into. So this is knowledge that we don't know about. This book is out. It's on a paperback that you see online for $9.99. I haven't gotten it yet, but we must get this book because it's written by King James himself. It's called Demonology. Demonology. So Demonology I see for $9.99. I'm sure if you go to a certain book site, you might even find it cheaper. I haven't had that book yet, but it's a great book. And please, before you leave, SBRCA.org. That's our organization. Everything we're doing, trying to put it on the website, update the website. We're going on Kwanzaa 2014. We're going to be on there. So please visit that website. Please put it in your phone, SBRCA.org. That's the acronym, the Song Alabama Roots Culture Association.
Very
okay?
Nice
very nice site. Thank you you very much. So please, if you haven't visited that site, please visit that site because we update everything that we're doing in the community. From our festival we do annual to Kwanzaa. So please visit that website, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Yeah, we have some more information for you. See, it looks like this is the information hour. Ms. Phyllis Jones is going to share some information that is very important to us. And without further ado, Ms. Phyllis Jones.
Good evening. Good evening. Yesterday, if you attended the workshop, I talked about white papers and I explained what they were. But for those of you who weren't here, everybody knows what white papers are? Good. So you know our legislators read white papers from us. Also the American Statesman is a good paper to have on Sunday. So if you get it on Sunday, you find out more of what's going on than any other time. So I was reading it before I got here, and Senator Rodney Ellis is the referendum senator that we have in Austin. You know, if there's some toes to be stepped on, he happily steps on them. Well, you know, due to the killing of our unarmed young black men, in November he wrote a bill. And you know, bills will be submitted January 6th. All bills will be submitted January 6th, but they start writing them now. Well, he wrote a bill that when you're arrested by the police, they will record your interrogations. Right now in Texas, they only have to record your confession. But he wrote a bill to have their interrogations recorded. And the police are furious right now. So to me, I say, I'm not going to ask us to, I'm going to tell us. We need to write Senator Rodney Ellis and let him know that we support his bill. So that on the 6th, when he comes in on that floor, he'll have papers that look like this, and not just this. He needs our support, and I believe we believe in that. Because the confession, after they beat me to death and threaten me, my confession is going to be sweet.
That's right.
But the interrogation might not be. So I want us to, and I know we're going to, we're going to contact, email, call him, I don't care how you do it, Senator Rodney Ellis, and tell him we support this bill.
Okay. Do you know the name of the bill?
It doesn't have a number.
Okay.
It won't have a number.
Until they put it on the floor.
Until they put it on the floor.
Is he doing it by himself or is he co-writing with anybody?
Right now, just him.
Just himself?
So we need to help him.
Is he part of the Black Caucus down here?
Yes, he is. Legislative Black Caucus, they're having their conference in March. You go online to the Legislative Black Caucus, you'll find out about it.
Okay.
It starts on a Saturday, and it ends on Tuesday. I'll be there on Sunday, because I work through the week. But if you got time, go to the Legislative Black Caucus, meet them, talk to them. They need us as well as we need them. And whether they're a legislator or not, they still work for us. So don't say he's not mine, I'm not going. Get to know him and go. Because as much as we can do to help them, they help us, and we all get this done together. And if any bill that you all need submitted, submit it to him, Royce West, Sylvester Turner. Submit our bills to them. Those who look like us, submit our bills to them. Don't submit them to Jimmy down there, you got them other folks, because we know where to go. It'll be in file 13. So, like I said, write our letters, let them know we support this bill, because we want to see it come through. And then we can go dancing in the street.
That's right.
One more thing too, we will try to make sure that we can provide a reading list of all the books that we have available for you. We will work on that, we can put that out in email, so if you have your email, you can send that to you while reading this. For the Sinai Bound Roots, a little bit about us. The Sinai Bound Roots is basically here, and our focus is to develop our young men and women who have an aspect of who they are. And so we focus on what we call the Sankofa, to go back and fetch. Basically, to go back and fetch all of the knowledge and the culture and all of the strengths and wonderful things that we have from our culture. We're not here to say that we have the best culture in the world, but we have a story to tell, and we want our young people to be able to tell that story. And that's our whole point. We want them to be the tomorrow leaders, but they got to be focused with an aspect from their perspective. So we encourage the young people to come out. We teach them drumming because we believe that the drum is the heartbeat of the community. It's the oldest instrument that was given to the world by our ancestors. And so we teach them how to play the drums. We teach them martial arts. But a different understanding. We don't call it.
That was the original internet. That's
Yes.
the original internet. Drum. Make sense?
You know, I tell you how dangerous the drums were. It is said that when Napoleon was defeated, days prior to Napoleon being defeated, the drums were heard all throughout the island of Haiti. And basically, the drums were used as the means to organize. Because the people that organize cannot be defeated. The drums were heard, and even when the king of Mali used to come to Mali, did y'all see the movie with, who was that, Muhammad Ali? Did y'all remember the sound? It was a sound like this, right? And Ali says, the chap is here. They copied that from when the king came into Mali. That was the sound that would sound throughout the empire. So that people know that the emperor is there.
Reminded on January 3rd, we start the pan, the steel pan.
We're gonna aim on that, we're gonna go on fellowship first, and I try to get some time to get here and then to go on the class.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stay flexible because we have our guest speaker is a little bit delayed. So we're going to change the format. We're going to keep rolling. So this is the part where we're going to go into some fellowship. We're going to do some meet and greet. And we're going to share with, if there's any young person who want to come up here, this is family. The only rule is you got to ask for permission to speak. That's our rule. And you can come up and share what you want to share with us. Very important for our young men. We know that the reason why our young men are not participating academically is because of one word: reading. 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 One word. If we get our young men to read, they will participate more in school. This has been proven academically. All right? And if you get the newspapers at home, because I pay for the newspapers every day, not for me, for the young people at home to read that newspaper every day. Not the comics. Not the comics. You have to read the editorials. And you have to highlight the new words that you are not familiar with. You have to know the root meaning of those words. Believe me, if you do that now, it will help you down the road when you take that SAT and when you go on in your academic studies. Reading is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. We're very spiritual, we're not religious. So whatever your religion is, that's fine. But we're just spiritual and we're familiar with most of the religions. We're not experts. I read the Bible. I'm not a Christian, but I'm spiritual. I cannot be a Christian for my personal meaning is that my ancestors pre-existed Adam and Eve. And that's just how I recognize my life. The oldest human being that we know of today, Annie, is Lucy. 3 million years old. 3 million years old. Abraham was, what, 1675 AD. So I cannot be a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. I'm a descendant of Lucy. Because Lucy had a mother and a father.
Yeah, so like I said, one more thing, the next program that we'll be having for Song and Bamboo Roots on Saturdays, we're here from 1 o'clock doing the drumming till about 4 p.m. And starting January 3rd, are anyone familiar with steel pans, steel drums from Trinidad? Are you familiar with those?
They like metal pans.
They actually a 50-gallon drum, regular 50-gallon drum that they cut, and this was created in Trinidad, in the West End. So anyway, on January 3rd, we're going to be starting up the steel pan lesson, and the kids they're going to learn how to read music. If they're playing the piano already, they already know how to learn, and they already know how to read music. If they're playing guitar, they already know how to how to play music. But if they don't do any of those, we're going to have a teacher from Trinidad that's going to actually come all the way from Austin. Going to give his free time to come here and give those lessons. I mean, we're so blessed for those. The least I can do for him is give gas money. Because he said he was looking for an organization like this where he can give back to the kids. And these kids can take this into the future because they're going to learn how to read music and play steel drums. So we're going to do it right here in the center. We got 17 steel pans. And so we're going to start the lesson here. We got the mid, we got the guitar, we got the bass. You got so many, I'm not familiar with them all yet, but I find it so unique because it's something that our people created. So we're going to start that program. So right now, let's go ahead and just eat some food and wait for the Mr. Dunn to come in and Mr. Moore to come in and do his thing.
Yes, with the books, I would like to know, do we have any African American authors that have books for, like my 12-year-old, where he can sort of connect with black stories, but on a younger level?
Yes, we do. I would say Anthony T. Browder.
What's the name?
Anthony T. Browder.
Oh,
because
okay.
he take his daughter from she was 12 years old or to younger to Africa. She has her own book, My First Trip to Africa. So Anthony, I got the books right there. Anthony, yeah, Brown, B-R-O-W-D. Anthony T. Browder, B-R-O-W-D. I'm not, yeah, is it Brown or Brown? Brown, right? Brown. Anthony T. Browder, I have the books back there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's a great author right there because he took